join us here. It's a special coverage of Edo Decides 2024, where we get to bring you an all-angle coverage of the 2024 gubernatorial election in Edo State. Well, it's been a long time coming, as they say. Today happens to be the big day for the people of Edo State to decide who leads them for the next 4 years going forward. So it's special for us here on Global Television as well, because we have to bring you a blow-by-blow account of all of the happenings there on the ground as far as it has to do with these very important election for that state and its good people. I'm Uyi Agmofwegwe. My colleague is also here on the program.
Good morning, Uyi. How are you doing today?
Well and hearty.
Exactly. It's good to each and every one of us. You out there, good morning. It's a beautiful day, and yes, of course, Edo Decides today. It's been a long time coming, back and forth with the campaign and all of that. Some of these governor aspirants going around campaigning, vote for me, and all of that. So, of course, the stories in which we've heard, which I do not want to mention. I'm sure individuals already they know what I'm trying to delve into, but I would not. But at the same time, like you said, it's been a long time coming to the exact. We'll know after all said and done. Today, we'll actually know. And going forward, we know who's going to rule for 4 years.
Right. So today is pivotal for Nigeria, of course, because this is an off-cycle election.
Yes, it is.
One of the 2 for this year, because the next will be in barely 2 months' time in Ondo State.
Yes.
But let's stay with Edo for today. Who knows, maybe for tomorrow as well, because we are going to not only bring you all of these happenings today, we will also have to do post-election analysis.
All the highlights.
All right, yes, going forward. For today, Edo has been in the news for a couple of months, all right? And then these last few weeks in particular have been particularly intense, you know, for politicians, political parties, the candidates across all the parties, INEC as the umpire, security agencies, of course, rumor mongers, journalists, and everyone else in between.
I like the in quotes.
Right. Of course, the fake news element has always been there.
Exactly.
Right. So outlets like Global Television, of course, will take the pain, go the whole hog, and do due diligence to ensure that we help you through the noise and filter the elements for you, and then put the truth right in front of you. But today will be very important as well. People have said it's a litmus test for INEC. And of course, for security agencies, INEC has told us time and again with assurances that, look, we're ready for this exercise.
True.
And today is the day for delivery. So INEC has a lot of eyes on it. We have, from what we understand, hundreds of observers, local and foreign, on the ground, who are also observing this election, and saying that some of the new measures and initiatives that INEC has rolled out will be tested on account of this election. The same will be repeated for Ondo, and then that again will be a pointer to what we should look forward to come 2027.
Exactly. And of course, this is very pivotal, like you've said, because this state has the most. Can you count the governor aspirants? There were so many.
It's quite a number of them, even though we know a couple of them pulled out at the last minute.
But coming forward, if we're looking at it from the counts in which we've gotten to this point, there were a lot of governorship candidates that were vying for this particular position. But at the long run, we've come to this day. This day has been, we've gone back and forth with this day and all of that, talking about it back to back. And of course, all hands are on deck concerning this. Of course, like you mentioned, security agents, journalists, rumor mongers, that part cracked me up. And of course, people that will always carry fake news. But in all, let peace reign. Take it in good faith. It doesn't matter who becomes the governorship, the governor of Edo State. Of course, Edo State is one state that people talk about. I know you're from, I'm half Edo, like I always say. But at the same time, of course, we know this particular state, I don't want to mention, but we know a lot of violence and all of that, individuals. Don't look at me like that.
I'm listening with rapt attention.
But at the same time, but the truth is, let peace reign. It's very important, because we've actually reported the news here of thugs going about and all of that, but at the same time, the most important thing is let peace reign, and whoever is on that seat, carry everyone along, and let justice...
And be the governor of the state, not the governor of a tribe.
Not the governor of a tribe. It doesn't matter if it's the Asang or whatever, or the parts the most important thing is just carry everyone along, let peace reign, and let the right thing be done. That's
Right.
the people are the most main concern here.
I think Jumai's concern is very legitimate and valid, as it has to do with security of lives and property.
Yeah.
All right, those assurances have been given before today, but again, like we said, this is an acid test for all the key stakeholders, whether they're politicians, their parties, their candidates, security agencies, and so on and so forth. Now, speaking of security, by the way, our police have told us in the course of the week that 35,000 policemen have been deployed for the purpose of this election, right? The NSCDC is putting in their 2 cents as well. We understand they are going as far as even redeploying men all the way from Anambra to also be part of this. The EFCC is also on the ground. ICPC is on the ground. And you're wondering, what are they doing? Well, they say they want to be able to check the menace of vote buying, all right? Those who bring a lot of money to polling units, all right, to voting centers, to be able to nip all of this in the bud as quickly as possible. We have seen the EFCC do that in recent years. I mean, particularly in the last election cycle, the general one, 2023. All right, so let's see how all of this will pan out. By then, we understand there are 2.2 million votes in the offing. So you have a plethora of political parties falling over themselves today, in a manner of speaking, to want to get a chunk of this vote, because like you and I know, voting and election are about numbers. So the
Yes,
guy
it
who
is.
gets the highest number wins the day.
Of course.
All right, which means that there's a whole lot of work to be done by everybody who has thrown their hat in the ring now, starting from INEC as the umpire, to ensure that the process is free, fair, and credible.
And most importantly, transparent.
Yes, it has to be. It has to be, because if it's not, that's where you find litigation after litigation after
Exactly.
litigation following the election itself.
Very important.
And then you find controversies. No process will be perfect on earth, no doubt about that. But let it be seen that for the most part, this was free, fair, credible, transparent, and without biases.
Exactly. Most importantly, I like the part where we will include accountability. Everyone should be held accountable.
Yeah, for whatever they do.
Whatever they do today, it's very important. And for me, I don't see any hitches for now. But in the course of the day, we'll get to know. We have individuals who will be on standby, correspondents here and then that we'll be speaking with in the course of the program. We have individuals that we're going to be calling in to know what is happening in Edo. Of course, we have a correspondent, Anthony Momodu, who is there,
in Benin.
who will be joining us
From Irua.
From Irua.
It's a central local government area of the state.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So also let us know, because most times I think the focus is always on the urban centers. All right, let's also see what's happening beyond the city center.
Exactly.
Because Eastern Central, incidentally, is far flung from Benin. So Anthony will be giving us an angle from that end as well.
Yes, he will. And with all of that, well, may the best man win for me.
Of course,
And
ultimately.
of course, remember, go out and vote. Don't stay in your house and think that the winner will just erupt from somewhere. You have to make an effort. I keep telling people who are, of course, we know, let's surround this around the economy and all of that. People are tired. Individuals do not know the way forward and all that. But just keep hope alive. Go out, do your bit, do your part. I know that, okay, I've done my own part and this person became governor or my candidate became governor. At least you made an effort. Very
Right.
important. Please go out and cast your vote in Edo, right?
Right. I think that's much is fair to say. Let's take a quick break, because we still have to bring you the papers today, which, as expected, will be littered with stories around the Edo election, what you need to know about the parties, their candidates, INEC, and the entire process. All of that will come your way after this break. Please stay with us.
welcome back. And of course, it's Edo Decides today, slash with Global Morning Weekend. And today we're going to be looking at the first paper, like we mentioned, that we're going to be going through the paper review. And we're going to start with Saturday Independent. And we have some big stories on the Saturday Independent. And the star story there says experts, humanitarian bodies assess causes, cost of disaster. And we have three captions there, and it says indict governor over failure fund mismanagement. And the second writer says, I'm still searching for my wife, 5 children survivor, of course, talking about the flood that happened in Maiduguri, Borno State capital. And it says cracks on Alao Dam walls enough signal before disaster. And that's from Technocrats there. And above the caption of the Saturday Independent, it says, at 60, I'm celebrating myself to encourage others. And that's Habib Arunson. And it says, opposition lawmakers reject court judgment declaring Rivers 27 legislators' case as pre-election issue. And the next says, I faced a lot of rejection growing up as an orphan. That's Yinka Ola Williams. And below all of that, we have new constitution should enshrine principles of federalism, human rights, Honorable Olong Tubosun. And you can find that on page 16. And of course, we'll be looking at will Labour Party labor in vain. And it says, Edo Gobo, tension as Obaseki raises alarm over movement of suspected political thugs. And one of the writers says, LP candidate Akbata says, I'm very much in the Gobber race. And that you can find on page 3 of the Saturday Independent. And it says, Nigeria slays MOU with Russia. Oh, sorry, pardon me. Nigeria signs MOU with Russia to revitalize Ajaokuta steel plant iron ore mining. And those are the leading stories of the Saturday Independent. You have to go out and get yourself a copy and read the most happenings that has, of course, all of the most happenings. But right now, our focus today, part of our focus, right, is Edo Gober, which says tension as Obaseki raises alarm over movement of suspected political thugs. And am I surprised, really, with this caption? I am not, because we know that these things happen. And that is why we have security agents on ground to be able to curb this menace that wants to occur. So it's like a foresight that we see. And hopefully nothing goes wrong today, by the grace of God.
We keep our fingers crossed and continue to monitor the situation on the ground.
Very important.
In Edo State. And there was a story there, Jumai, Saturday Independent, about Zakbata saying he's still very much in the race. You know, again, it cycles back to the fake news factor. We talked about it a while ago. There was the news report that the man had collapsed his structure, as politicians say, and thrown his weight behind a different candidate. All right. But now the man comes out and says, I never collapsed anything. I'm still in the race. As a matter of fact, being a lawyer that he is not even threatening lawsuits that, look, he's going to bring those behind these device, all right, to book. Maybe, of course, that would be after the election, because for now, he has to keep the main thing.
All right. Of course, this story that says, will Labour Party labor in vain? Like, you know, of course, we know the scenario.
Which happens to be Akbata's party.
Exactly. So let's just see how well, like you said, it's too early to say this or that. But at the end of it all, let us know by today, tomorrow, we'll actually know the fate of course. Governor aspirants. But hopefully, everything goes well.
ANEC needs to do his part. Every other person should do their parts, and then regardless of party or candidates, Edo State will ultimately decide. I mean, the people of that state who becomes their governor.
And of course, the main people, the concern of the state are the people, because they're the ones that are in the state.
They're going to hire.
They are going to hire, like you rightly said. Next is the Saturday Punch, and we will be taking us right through that.
All right, thank you, Juba. Let's take a look at the Saturday Punch quickly. Big story here says Edo poll Igodalo Okbewolo Akbata battle for 2.2 million votes today. 2 riders looking at us right there. IG orders movement restriction. PDP raises the alarm over hijack. Starving Ogun leprosy community cries for help as robbers loot homes. I cried when teacher labeled me disabled, money waster, graduate with cerebral palsy. Tinubu's minister under fire for alleged link with bandits. The story has a picture of Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale. You can find details for yourself on page 8 of the Saturday Punch. On the foot of the paper, Labour kicks us FG backdate minimum wage payment to July. It has been giving concerns to Nigerian workers, basically. And then if you take it a notch higher, just immediately below the name plate, I'm a chosen can fumes over exam malpractice testimony. Those mocking our testimonies, ignorant, says church. I realized my relationship was abusive after first slap. Mona Lisa Stephen is the one to whom that is credited. And then there's one with a picture of the president here. I'm not after your money, Tinubu tells Nigerians. Of course, another paper reported yesterday that the president had said he's not here for money, he's here to work. In the course of the week, Minister of State for Youth has also said that the president is stupendously rich, he's too wealthy to want to loot Nigeria's funds. So I think that's the direction of the narrative as it stands right now from the Saturday Punch today.
Of course, stories that have caught my attention, two of them. The first one is I realized my relationship was abusive after
first lap.
No, really, is that when you realize? My mom will say characters like smoke. When he raises his voice, you should know that he's abusive. There's a way he's going to shove you and push you before it gets to that level. I think there are stages before it gets to that level.
Right.
Don't you think so? So I think she found out too late.
I don't think she found out too late. Sometimes there is also the emotion of he would change. You see, relationships are dynamic. No, people have that. I've seen that happen a lot.
Tell me.
People who say, no, you know what I'm talking about. People who
No, I
say,
don't.
yes, I know he's a bit. He's a bit. They try to use the words by way of trying to defend.
subtle
You know, when
words to
people
defend.
fall in love, I use that very advisedly. When they fall in love, even though we're not talking love on the program this morning,
No, we're not.
they become defensive of the person with whom they are supposedly in love.
What happened to your brain, darling?
To the point that no, people don't bring their brain to love.
Okay.
That's the sad thing, right? The fact of the matter is, you go out on a date with him or her because it's a two-side coin, really. You know, how does he treat the waitress? It's a pointer. You may think he's doing it to others. You know, that's also another angle to the conversation. You think because he's doing it to others or she's doing it to others, it won't get to you. It is who she is. It is who he is, right? It's just going to be a matter of time before you take your turn and eat breakfast, like they say. So if the guy takes you out on a date, how does he speak with the cab guy? What situation has tested his patience? And how did he act under such circumstance?
But it's
So you need to realize that he didn't have to slap you. That's where I'm getting to. You didn't have to wait till he slapped you.
exactly.
So I think you didn't realize after he slapped you. It got dawned on you after he slapped you. So there are two different issues.
Really, I completely agree with you. I think it dawned on her that, okay, all of these signs I've seen earlier on,
This is the climax.
this is the climax. Okay, yeah, now I agree with
So
you.
can we go to the next paper, please?
Yes, we can. But of course, I want to look at this particular story still on Saturday Punch that says starving Ogun leprosy community cries out for help as robbers loot homes. Like, really, seriously. These are people that
It's
are already
pathetic.
handicapped. It's pathetic. And that is what we find ourselves now. A lot of people are hungry and they can go through any means. Look at these robbers going to loot the homes of individuals who have
dealing with leprosy.
not minding that it could be contagious at a point that they could be affected by this. It's just unfortunate, but I hope the needful is done. And of course, the next paper is the Saturday Sun. And below the caption of the Saturday Sun says, of course, the Star Story says, Gobber Pole shut down in Edo. And we have two riders there. It says, Igadalo, Okpapolo, Akpata. Others test priority as 2.2 million voters choose new governor. Tinubu charges INEC officials, security personnel to be impartial. And you can find these stories there on page 23 and 26. And below that it says Gani Adams to Tinubu will all be dead before your reforms are done. And one of the writers says reduce fuel price to give Nigerians relief. And here in the voice of Tinubu he says, I didn't come to look for money but to work. And another story says Elumelu sets out priorities for UNGA 2024. Why I don't want to live abroad, and that's Kike. That's an actress there. And it says Emeka Offer Foundation donates 200 million naira others to victims of Borno flooding, which is an amazing gesture because it is so sad. I saw people being swept away by
the flood, right?
I told you I finished from Unimed, and there were places I still remember: Lagos Street, Damboa Road, all of these amazing places. It's just unfortunate what has happened there. And do you have any story that has piqued your attention?
Yeah, not really. But you see, that's issue of the flood in Maiduguri, which of course is in Borno State, is quite pathetic.
Really?
Yes, because of the fact that it now has become a talking point for Nigerians, not just for Borno people alone, not just for the Northeast alone. Because let's also be clear, there's now a spill over to other states, right? Look at Yobe, for example. Look at Adamawa. That's in the Northeast. And then you go all the way to the Northwest. Look at a state like Zamfara. Now, let's recall that Zamfara is also dealing with humongous problem regarding banditry. In fact, there is now a back and forth between the incumbent governor, Dauda Lawal, and his immediate predecessor, talking about Bello Metawale, now Minister of State for Defense, about who is responsible for banditry and all of that. But I think the flood is more of the issue for the people. We have been seeing donations, 1.5 billion today, 2 billion tomorrow. We're seeing Nigerians, at their peak coming to donate money, food items, and relief materials and what have you. But the question is, do these things get to the rock bottom? Those targets beneficiaries as we know them? Because now we hear that people are stranded, camps have been brought down, so they are hanging in the air, so they don't even know what to do with their lives anymore. So you're wondering, has the money been made available? If yes, what is being done as we speak with the money? All right, who is in charge of the money? Are we not going to also end up exactly? Are we not going to end up with EFCC pursuing some people at the end of the day about who got 700 million naira, didn't do anything with it, somebody who absconded and eventually bought a house somewhere in Europe or in the US and things like that? So this again will test whether or not we are ready to be serious as a country.
And of course, talking about the flooding in Maiduguri, talking about that Alao Dam, there were indications that this was going to
happen at some point,
so
right?
Why were there no precautionary measures to avoid this particular disaster that has taken place in Maiduguri, the Borno State?
It just goes to show again, Jumai, that we need to be more sincere and forthcoming with how we behave. The governor is at the middle of all of these now because this is his own state. All right, no matter how much people come to donate or contribute or try to show solidarity, the governor is the first port of call, as they say. Yes. So at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, when the smoke clears, people are going to ask, what did the state government do under these circumstances?
But and at the same time, I think now people need to take responsibility. Those who were in charge of that, people need to come in and say, okay, fine, we take full responsibility, and that's why it's important that people do their job.
Right.
If this was detected before now, I don't think all this would have been avoided. It's just unfortunate. But
it is sad.
Responsibility. It's very important.
Right.
And of course, the next paper which we will be taking us on is Saturday Telegraph. Over to you.
All right, let's go there, everyone. From the headlines about the nameplate. First off, we have a picture of Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, says Rivers Court dismisses suit seeking to replace 27 pro-Wike lawmakers. The writer says opposition coalition legislators reject judgment, vow to appeal. It's their right to do so, no doubt. FG set to liquidate outstanding pension liability. That's according to Pencom DG. Talking about Omolola. All right. What's more, the writer says operators pay out 1.12 trillion naira for programmed withdrawal annuity. Big story. Tinubu tells parties, supporters, respect processes, people's will in Edo polls. As 2.2 million voters determine Igodalo, Okpewolo, Akbata, others' fate today. Two writers there, they read election, golden opportunity for Rynek to redeem image, group tells Yakubu. CSO expresses concern over security situation, likely vote buying. Then other riders to the left end of the page. Nigeria orders to benefit from $90 billion World Bank electricity funds. FG Labour sign MOU on salaries adjustments. NNPCL moves to revive $29.8 million BRAS OK LNG projects. CBN, we've not reintroduced cyber security levy, so what exactly happened? Report why FGN savings bond coupon payment is delayed. We understand there's been some technical glitch in that regard. How worsening economic conditions trigger mental health crisis. Those details await you on pages 28 and 29. But then we have some riders for you. Specific pronouncement can only be based on data. Professor Okureje. Conditions that predispose to mental health disorders on their increase. Hospital records suggest a steady rise, says Ume. Showore, I knew I was slated for arrest by DSS but had to come home, says I've never expected any positive impact from Tinubu. Those details are right on page 20 of today's issue of the Saturday Telegraph. All right, that's all we have for you from the Saturday Telegraph. Do well by picking that paper today and looking up details for yourself. And then we have the Nation as the Vanguard.
Let's see what we have. To the Vanguard, we look at how worsening economic conditions trigger mental health crisis.
Right.
A lot of mental health issues due to
because of economic issues, right?
Yes, a lot. Of course, you've heard suicidal cases. We've heard mothers who just take all their children to police station, commit suicide. Some abandon their families, and all. It's just unfortunate. I just hope that the needful is done. And like you said, we're moving next to the Saturday Tribune.
So we're done with the Tribune. We should be moving to the Saturday Vanguard now.
Okay, Saturday Vanguard. And here it says, the star story says, Edo Goba, who succeeds Obaseki? And two writers there, Gadalo Akpata Okpaholo in Battle Royale. And it says, new election will be won and how election will be won and lost. And above all of that, the health on the Saturday Vanguard says drinking from plastic bottles can raise your blood pressure. And that's the study. So it's very important. People
drink from cups.
Drink from cups. It's more healthier. It's easier. And it says, deserve death, but I beg for a second chance. Teenager admits after killing church mate. Unfortunate incident there, the one that happened in Lagos about a girl who was actually on her internship in Yaba. A church member lured her to his house and then killed her and started collecting money from her mom, who is a widow. Unfortunate incident there. No one can be trusted. And this guy, he's 20-something,
quite young,
a teenager. It's just unfortunate that where we've gotten to. Individuals, they're role models. People want to be rich on time. It's just unfortunate, really. During our time, when we were teenagers, what were you thinking about? Let me just put you on the spot.
No, it's very straight to answer. I wish my mom was here, Esther. So we'll tell you. It was for me about Walkman. Just get me Walkman, make sure it's working, get my headphones.
Oh, you did the Walkman?
Yes, I did. All right, that was my thing. So don't tell me it was faulty. I will stay with the technician guy from morning till night.
I did the Walkman.
All right. So for me, those were the things I really cared about. Then allow me play a bit of football, even though my mom wasn't quite comfortable because she would feel you would end up with a cut, with a bruise, and what have you. So my other brother and I were really not giving much of latitude, even though my other brother was a bit heady about it. But just allow me toy, let me do a bit of writing and all of that. But this issue of, we just felt there was time for everything. I don't know. I think the upbringing was a factor. Society was essentially different.
True.
Priorities were not the same at that time. So you could commit an infraction 2 streets away from your home. someone else's mom who had never met your mom will bring you to the house, having given you like 2 spanks.
Very good.
Will bring you to the house. Your mom will thank that woman very well, become friends with her immediately. They will become family friends over time. But in the meantime, once the woman leaves, your mom will compliment the spanks again. All right. So yes, you would have signs by force.
Oh my
you will behave yourself, because at that point the thing in your head is every other mom is watching you.
Really?
So you were careful how you behaved. The teachers in school, at least a quarter of them knew your parents. They knew somebody on your streets. So misbehaving was much more difficult. It was as if you had the CIA, the DSS, the FBI watching you all your life. Exactly. So the chances of misbehaving were pretty slim.
Yes, it was.
But today you have gadgets with you. You have, I didn't even touch a mouse until I was probably in my early 20s, because at the end of the day, what happens is you didn't have access to gadgets.
Exactly.
There was no internet to fiddle with. You didn't have to. I was already a full-blown adult before I could even go to cyber cafe to say, okay, let me browse, let me use Google, let me use Yahoo Mail and things like that. But for your teenage era,
we didn't have access to phones.
No, what we had were landlines. All right.
Exactly.
So
and your parents are there monitoring what you're talking about.
No, your dad would. There was a small padlock that your dad would put for those who had the one that had a dialer. So the measures to check you were in place for the most part, and then for the TV, for those who had black and white TV back in the day, quack, 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 quack. Your dad knew the channel they left it on. Your dad knew how he shut the TV screen. Your mom knew how she left a cloth on top of it. So the security checks were in place. My wife was sharing with me how that there was a time, of course, she has a couple of brothers, older brothers. So her dad one day, having noticed that they were moving the car in his absence, put a big pen under the back tire. So the guys thought they were smart. They drove out as usual.
Oh my goodness.
Brought the car back. Their dad asked them what happened, and they said, well, we've been good. The car had been there. All we did was to wash and clean. They had graduated before their dad told them that you guys drove this car and you broke my pen.
Can you imagine?
Right. Because there was no CCTV.
Exactly.
And it was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Right, it was fun.
I did the Walkman thing. I'm a music lover. I love music. I was the kind of child that will always listen to music, inspirational songs.
Right.
And then, we'll always write down songs, the lyrics and all of that. But now when you hear about the teenagers now, what they think about, and then when you see someone driving a car, and then you see someone making so much money, and then they say, God, when? A teenager, we're supposed to be thinking about school and all of these. It's just unfortunate where we found ourselves, but hopefully that I'm just speechless at that point.
Right.
But it's just unfortunate that parents, guardians, caregivers, I keep saying you have a lot of work to do. That word, that phrase that says there is time for everything. If you look at it and reflect, it makes a lot of sense, especially to our children, to understand that it is all a process. You have to get to this point before you get to this point. You can't get to point A and then get to point C. It is like it's a path you must follow.
Right.
But most of these teenagers, they do not have that patience, and that's why they fall into these sort of troubles. Why would a teenager want to kill his fellow? As in, what gave him that boldness? Like, I don't get it. Well, I pray that the Lord will help us. And moving on now on Saturday Vanguard, it says here, cheers. Emenalo transforms Saudi Football League in just 2 years. And you can find that on page 14, Sports Lovers. And it says 1 million naira reward to 26 military men who killed terror kingpin. I'm seeing 4 here on page 13. And below the caption, it says Edo Gubber, who succeeds Obasa. I've said that already. And to our die race, all eyes on INEC police. And you can find that on page 8. And we have one writer there. It says 17 factors that may jeopardize today's election. Edo, the past, the present, and potential intrigues. On page 10, you'll find that how INEC can rescue its battered image. And you can find that on page 9, and that is all on the Saturday Vanguard. And will you be taking us
through the Saturday Times?
Okay.
All right, let's turn to the Saturday Times. So, just to let you know that we understand that those who are midwife in this election at those states are already trooping out from INEC staff, whether permanent or ad hoc. Security agencies have already deployed their men as well, and those in charge of logistics are already moving materials. We'll bring you all of that footage all through our broadcast and today, starting shortly. But we thought we should look at the papers for you real quick first. Speaking of which, we turn to the Saturday Times for you. We start with a big story on the front page of it. It says Edo Guba intrigues as Dennis Osadebe house awaits new landlord. Of course, as of today, Godwin Obaseki is the incumbent landlord. Two writers there speaking to us. Massive deployment of security officers scares voters. Tinubu urges civility during exercise. Court remands man for allegedly defiling 10-year-old girl. Page 7. Crazy stories all over the place. Uchechi and Eloye breaking boundaries with mixed emotions. And a picture of a minister of information there says Kaduna police nab man with 20 fabricated AK-47 rifles. I beg your pardon. Picture of Governor Sani Uba of Kaduna State. Kaduna police nab man with 20 fabricated AK-47 rifles. That's quite disturbing. I'll need sex to relieve stress when I leave BBN house handy. Okay, all man for himself, God for all. And Nigerians grow weary of hospitals as cases of medical mistakes soar. The issue of medical negligence has been a talking point this week. But then again, regulation needs to be improved as well. My dream of becoming a policeman was aborted, Sobifa Dokubo. Police arrest 2 women for sale of newborn twins. This story broke yesterday and gave people cause to reflect and get worried. CBN refused reinstatement of cyber security law. That was basically on page 4 of today's Times. That's the Saturday Times. This story about police arresting 2 women for sale of newborn twins. A lot of people will say, well, it's really not new. Maybe the only new thing would be those who were arrested, the circumstances under which they were arrested, or the location at which they were arrested. But we've heard about baby factories time and again. From Benin to Bayelsa to Rivers to Lagos to Anambra. We've heard of all of these things. I had spoken with the permanent secretary, Ministry of Women Affairs, sometime in 2020 about some of these issues, and she told me that the issues are quite complicated. She said there are people who are desperate to have children. They've been married for years. Stigma, pressure from family, especially their husband's family, so depressed. They want to adopt, and then by the time they say let's adopt, the process itself is very rigorous, because adopting a child, Juma, is it's not same as going to a fast food restaurant and ordering chicken and jollof rice mixed with.
There's a process.
Yes, and that process is not something that happens at the snap of fingers or over one weekend. All right, you have to be taken through the protocols and what have you, and some people can't wait that time. Some of them come from abroad to adopt back at home. So they feel we don't have we thought this was going to take maybe a couple of weeks at most. But then they realize it's taking close to a year or even longer. Because you also don't blame those who are in charge of regulating this procedure or this process. Because this is a child we're giving to you. This is somebody's life. We have to ensure that we've done our part so that if there's a problem tomorrow, it doesn't have a blowback impact on us, on society, on governments and stuff like that. So some of these complications, these realities, they say, lead some couples to the point of going to buy children, as it were. I mean, the side of it is irritating already, but it is the reality we have in front of us in society today of people who just start a factory where all they do all year round is making babies for no other reason than to sell them from young girls. So they bring in girls as young as 16, 17, 18, 19. They're making babies for as many years as possible until one day when they get busted by law enforcement.
Yes, very true. But at the same time, you should put this at the back of our mind. Now, some of these girls willingly go to these baby factories and tell
But
you.
again, it doesn't justify it.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't justify. They do it because they need the money. They need to survive
Right.
and all of that. They willingly. I've met some people who tell you, Jumai, she willingly did that because she wanted to give sukkah to someone. As in, okay, fine.
Maybe
I will-
on purely humanitarian grounds.
Yes, humanitarian ground, and the person just agreed. Okay, for you doing this for this our family, let me do this for you, as in give her a better life.
And that's discretionary.
Yes, exactly.
So it's not transactional.
No, it's not transactional. Those that are transactional, I feel it is wrong in all levels. There's a way. That's why we have IVF. I know individuals. I know family and friends who, especially friends who have tried the IVF and it didn't work out. But there's always a legal way around all of these things. I think we should do it the right way. Baby factory transactional, it's wrong in also because some of these girls are even. They actually, that's the word I'm looking for. They're, in fact, these women take them for granted and do all sorts with them. Some of them are even kidnapped in the process and they get pregnant unwillingly. And
Right.
but some
Against their will.
Against their will. But some go into it. It's just unfortunate. But I hope the right thing. I'm glad these women were caught, and I'm glad the law will take its course.
Right.
Very important.
All right, let's go to this day newspaper for you.
All right, this day, of course, this particular day, the Gabon election poll today.
Right.
Just trying to. And above the caption, it says, Tinubu, I am not in office for personal gains. And we have one writer there says his good focus on, his focus on food, energy security, long-term economical stability. And the second writer says Beret's past administrations for rejecting or producing communities, educative sector. And the other writer says meet former presiding officers of National Assembly. And on that caption of this day says Borno flood, Kashim Imam begins distribution of cooked meals to victims. And below the caption says 2.2 million voters to the side. Igadalo, Akpakpolo, Akpata, others, faith today. We're all waiting and standing by to see how far that goes. And the writer says, I'm still in the race, LP candidate decries APC purported court ruling against Akpakpolo falls. Allow peace, diversity to reign. Tinubu tells stakeholders, Edo movement, DHQ, we are in Edo to thwart activities of elements. And below all of that, we can see the global polls. We see APC, LP, and PDP candidates here. And just go out and get your paper and read more and be well informed when it comes to issues making round. And
right.
Next, we have our next paper, and we'll be running us through.
Let's take our next paper quickly this morning, everyone. At this point, we'll be moving away from this day to bring you the weekend trusts. All right, so weekend trust has a picture of some of the candidates in this election. But let's look at what the story says. D-Day for Edo. For writers there, it says threats of violence, intra-party crisis may shape outcome. We will accept results if PDP, APC, LP give conditions. All right. Respect voters' will, Tinubu tells politicians. INEC police upbeat, residents express mixed reactions. Dati calls Mirik to order. You find all of that on page 5 of the Weekend Trusts. Bello, Abdusalami, Danjuma, and Tinubu in the news, page 16. Those are some news highlights for you. Barral hails Tinubu for conversion of FCE's Kano Zaria to universities of education. That's the deputy speaker there. I mean, as deputy Senate president there, talking about the conversion of FCEs, that's Federal Colleges of Education, in Kano and Zaria to universities of education instead. Okay, let's take it to the foot of the paper quickly. Says Jonathan could have won 2015 election. Dr. Bello Haliru Mohammed is the one to whom that story is credited on page 39. 28 students killed, 78 kidnapped in 20 months. Isn't that a sad story?
Very
of course,
sad.
you bet it is definitely a sad story, but we hope we don't continue to tell sad tales in this country. Our next paper will be The Nation, after which we're taking a break on the papers, and Juma has those details for us.
All right, on the Nation newspaper, above the caption, it says federal government backdates new minimum wage implementation. Okay, backdates new minimum wage implementation to July 29th, and you can read more on page 6. Rivers Crisis Court, it says, dismisses suit to replace 27 pro-Wike lawmakers. And you can find that on page 7. The rider says Fubara's candidates to cabinet LG poll on AP platform. And below the Nation, there says, the star story there says, tension, fear, spine, counter accusations, Harold Edo poll. And the writer there says Tinubu sues for peace, civility. Police ensure force, military deployed for security. Rect critics tell me what I've done wrong. And it says analysis, Battle of Two Godfathers, page 4 and 5. And Motunde, many big names wanted me to warm their bed for roles. Okay. And according to you said something.
All man for himself and God for all.
Exactly. And here he says, I came to work, not look for money. Tinubu tells ex-NAS presiding officers. And below the foot there of the Nation, it says, cybersecurity levy suspension stands, says CBN. And that's it on the Nation newspaper. Any caption that caught your eye?
Really? Oh, well, the one about, yeah, you may say it's pedestrian because today is the election day in Edo, and
Yes,
that's
it
our
is.
focus on the program. But you see, this has been, I mean, maybe it's as old as the industry itself, sex for roles, like you have sex for grades within our universities as well, and all of that, right? So the thing is, it's quite difficult to break through in any industry. But it will appear entertainment or showbiz as we know it, whether it's music or movies, has its own peculiar challenges, right? Yeah, maybe more for ladies, I don't know, because ladies always talk about how that they're under pressure to compromise, you know, the issue of sex for roles and all of that. Sometimes it will appear some of these producers and movie makers, the guys who are into the core aspects of what they do in the industry, you know, want something for something, that sort of thing. And
Scratch my back.
exactly, the lady has the talent. The lady can deliver in that role. She can interpret that role, the script very well. But instead, you're looking for something else and all of that. So it makes it maybe 3 times harder for such a lady or for such ladies to be able to break even or break through in the industry, because one would have thought for a lady who is talented enough to be in the industry, to play whatever roles she's assigned, we should be looking at her competence, her skill sets, you know, her capacity. But instead, we're looking for something altogether different.
Looking at something else.
Yeah, so for many of these ladies, it becomes more challenging. Of course, we know those who are readily available to compromise. After all, the goal is just to get to the top and all of that. But there are those who are coming with a set of values. They do not want to compromise for whatever role you're giving them, because they expect that there should be a minimum standard as far as the industry is concerned and what have you.
And of course, looking back and always realizing that they're role models to young girls. So you can stand and actually talk to them and say, hey, there's some times when you do not need to compromise. Let your talent speak. It will take a lot of time, but you will definitely prevail at the long run. It's very important that as role models, we should tell the younger ones who look up to us that, hey, this is how it is. And you can actually accomplish it. You don't have to compromise in order to get to the top. You can get to it in a legit style. Will I say steez? All is well.
Right. Okay, so let's take a break, everyone. It's our special coverage of the election in Edo State, which we have tagged Edo Decides 20. Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here. Get ready for it. Inside Today brings you issues relating to family, peer pressure, drugs, substance abuse, societal and topical issues making rounds. Join Jumai Manson on Global Television Monday to Thursday and it repeats every Friday. Time 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Don't miss out.
I've seen watch your network, Global Television, and I think it's a refreshing addition to some of the networks that we already have, to have competitive media and looking at news from different angles. The place to go is to watch Global Television because it gives you a different perspective, whether it is local news or foreign news, and even you're connecting with local communities in villages that I have seen. So we urge Nigerians that, this is the time to broaden the space, the source of information, of entertainment, and of enlightenment. And Global TV is the place to watch.
Are you ready to be entertained like never before? Get ready to dive into the latest and greatest entertainment news in lifestyle, music, movies, birthday celebration, and so much more. All on Entertainment Circle on Global Television. From the hottest red carpet events to exclusive interviews with your favorite stars, we've got you covered. Stay up to date with the latest trends and news from the entertainment world, all in one place. Tune in every Saturday by 1 p.m. with Chung Animal Joseph on Global Television.
But by your name, you say global. So global is a big coverage. So you are taking a big name, but you are starting from the scratch. So that big name, by the grace of Almighty Allah, you achieve that. You will appreciate your activities, your reportage, and everything you are doing. Do it with the fear of Almighty God. Step by step, you'll be growing very, very globally. Get your things right and then report rightly. And then inshallah, sky will be your remaining.
Business Point on Global Television.
The business world can be dynamic and unpredictable, with headwinds and volatility sometimes becoming an obstacle for players in the business and economy landscape. Watch Business Point on Global Television as Samuel Odi walks you through the twists, turns and curves in bands, stocks and crucial market indices from a global standpoint. Watch Business Point weekdays on Global Television at 11 a.m. West African time. Business Point. This is business.
back, and yes, it's still Edo Decides, and it's part of Global Morning Weekend on Global Television, and we're here to take the last paper, and I will be doing justice to that right away.
Right.
And of course, it's Saturday Tribune, and here it says UIVC says 3,283 students, 83 students appealed for NEL fund loans will be allowed to write exam. And here it says free payment portal closes. Circular Road, we won't touch houses in densely populated areas or your government. It says previous government acquired Gazette, 600 million setback. Makinde governor hasn't acquired extra square meter. And of course, below the caption, it says IGP locks down Edo as Governor Poe holds today. And we have two riders, Tinubu, Jonathan, call for peace. Accord party candidate withdraws, running mate takes over. And next we have new minimum wage may take effect from July 29th. I didn't come to look for money, I came to work. And that's the voice of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I can find that on page 9. Tinubu believes he knows it all. He takes no advice. Ex-Lagos Deputy Governor Bakno Akerele, he says that, and that's you can find on page 47 on Saturday Tribune. And go out and get your paper. Any caption that doesn't took you want to focus on?
Incidentally, Bucknell served with Tinubu as Deputy Governor in Lagos State, right? So I like to believe she's saying that in good faith. But again, what piece of advice has she offered the federal government, particularly under the leadership of President Tinubu, that either was not taken or was discarded, that sort of thing. But we need to know that every other day everybody is advising the president. How many can he listen to? How many can he actually implement? Even when you work as a general manager or supervisor in a medium-sized organization, even a small-scale business, people are giving you advice every day. How many can you listen to? How many can you implement, really? So the fact that the government may not have done some of the things you recommended, whether formally or informally, does not necessarily mean that the president is... I mean, this is not me holding brief for the president. I'm not even in his immediate team. But you see, we need to be human about some of these things, all right? Even as a father, if you have 12 children and they're all advising you, there's no rule that says that... I mean, no guarantee you can do all that they advise. As a son, you know, or as a human being, you have older siblings who advise you about different issues about your life. There are some you may not be able to do, basically. So the fact that the president may not have done exactly what you thought does not mean he's trying to do Mr. Know-it-all. I'm even sure that, 1 year and counting into office, the president is probably surprised at some things he has come to find. Because when you are not the president, is one thing, Juma. When you become the president, it's a different thing altogether.
The pressure.
Right. There are people who are even probably much closer to the president than you are, who also advise him. He hasn't done them. So it doesn't mean he doesn't respect those people. It just simply means that these issues are addressed on a scale by scale or first come first served basis, maybe based on priorities or what have you.
Very true.
Right.
Very, very true. And people do not understand that when you're on that particular seat, you will not really understand what it is. When you're in seat of power, you have to understand that there's a lot of pressure that comes with it, a lot of things that you have to put into place. Some advice will not be palatable at that time because you have other focus in mind. So we have to be patient. We have to be very empathetic when it comes to coming out and making all of these claims. And we have to be very careful because you're not there. You do not know. You're not the one wearing the shoes. He's the one wearing it. And I'm not holding brief for the president, like I said, but I understand what it is to be in a particular position, and a lot of people are telling you too many things at the same time. You do not know who to listen to. It's one step at a time. So,
Right, it is.
and then another story that caught my eye is, I keep talking about this NEL fund loan. I know fee payment portal closes. I don't know how sustainable this will be. This loans given to individuals who children who cannot afford to pay in the instrumental. I do not. I have my worries. I'll just keep it to myself and just see how this plays out. It's too fresh for us to judge. But at the same time, is this sustainable? I keep asking everyone that I meet, is it sustainable? Is everyone going to, most children who actually need these funds, I hope nothing shady will play out of it. I hope people will be held accountable for it. Even some of these students who are going in for these loans, have there been a thorough background check when it comes to these loans? So you won't actually spoil this particular beautiful initiative for other children who are deserving of this, who really want to go to school through this format. I just don't know. How sustainable do you think this will be?
Okay, I don't know about sustainable, but you already made a very salient point when you say it's probably too early to draw conclusion and all that. It is. I mean, you don't have to like this government, you don't have to like politicians. You probably don't even need to be a Nigerian to know that this is a laudable initiative. This idea is great, even though we will always pick holes in policies and programs of government. So let's experiment, I'd like to say, for the next, who knows, maybe 1-2 years and see how this pans out. But so far, I think we're largely doing well with this initiative. Schools have been involved. I mean, look at the first few weeks of rollout. So you see the number of schools that jumped on it, got rights on the portal. All right, so register, upload required data and things like that. They say Rome was not built in a day. Yes. I jokingly told somebody about a fortnight ago that nobody has told us how long it took to build Rome. All we hear is it was not built in a day. True. How long did it take? Nobody is telling us.
You tell us.
Right. So we are building our Rome right now. We're not so sure how long it will take, but we will build, definitely.
Let's be hopeful, right?
Right.
Let's be hopeful. All right, that's all on the paper review, right, Uyi?
Right.
And we're going to quickly go on a very quick break. And like we said, we'll be informing you on what is playing out in Edo Decides today. Like we all know, all governor aspirants, all hands are on deck, and of course the need will be done with security agents, INEC, and all of that. So stay tuned. It's Global Morning Weekend / Edo Decides today. Do not go anywhere. The program will continue back to back.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team. Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here. Get ready for it. Inside Today brings you issues relating to family, peer pressure, drugs, substance abuse, societal and topical issues making rounds. Join Jumai Manson on Global Television Monday to Thursday and it repeats every Friday. Time 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Don't miss out.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
The Global Morning Team.
Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here. Get ready for it. Inside Today brings you issues relating to family, peer pressure, drugs, substance abuse, societal and topical issues making rounds. Join Jumai Manson on Global Television Monday to Thursday and it repeats every Friday. Time 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Don't miss out.
I've seen watch your network, Global Television, and I think it's a refreshing addition to some of the networks that we already have, and to have competitive media and looking at news from different angles. The place to go is to watch Global Television, because it gives you a different perspective, whether it is local news or foreign news, and even you're connecting with local communities in villages that I have seen. So we urge Nigerians that, this is the time to broaden the space, the source of information, of entertainment, and of enlightenment. And Global TV is the place to watch.
Are you ready to be entertained like never before? Get ready to dive into the latest and greatest entertainment news in lifestyle, music, movies, birthday celebration, and so much more, all on Entertainment Circle on Global Television. From the hottest red carpet event to exclusive interviews with your favorite stars, we've got you covered. Stay up to date with the latest trends and news from the entertainment world, all in one place. Tune in every Saturday by 1.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
The Global Morning team. Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the program again. Of course, it's Edo Decides 2024, where election is happening today to determine who becomes the next governor to succeed Governor Obaseki, the incumbent governor. Like we have said last couple of weeks, by 12th of November, Edo State will have a new governor at Osadebe Avenue, which is, of course, the official residence of the governor. But before that happens, which is a couple of weeks to come, today is the day on which the people of Edo State will choose who their next governor will be. But while we'll keep talking about the politicians, the political parties, their candidates, we also need to talk about the electorate, those who are going to vote, the voting public, as they call them. Because whether you like it or not, at the end of the day, this is for them and this is about them as well, right? If you're going to vote, of course, it's more like you're doing broadcasting. You know when you resume, you don't know when you close most times. So you know when you get to the polling units, your polling units, but you can't be sure when you're going to close, when you're going to leave there. But so we're saying all of this for you to be a bit more precautious, all right? Be circumspect and all of that. You're not going there to fight. Like we have always said for about a decade now, election not be war, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah, go there and cast your votes. You can harm yourself with, harm yourself with water,
Very
all right?
important.
Do what you should, you're expected to do. Respect the rules and regulations. I understand accreditation is the first line of action. Get accredited. Don't try to prove a point because you're coming with a sentiment of who you want to cast a vote for. The people working for INEC are not as interested in who you are voting for as they are about the process itself. All right. So be sure that you are there, you comply with all of the rules and regulations. All right, don't go there making trouble and discussing who will win and who will not win, or telling people who you voted for. All right, and then for those who also are going there to induce voters, because that is one of the fears that people have had leading up to today, Jumai, the fear that people will come to buy votes, which we now call voter inducement. Right. All right, just be sure that you are committing a crime buying votes, whether you're the one buying or you're the one to whom the buying is done. In fact, you're the one that is being bought from. Because you're not supposed to sell your votes.
No, you're not.
Of course, people will give all the excuses or all the reasons for wanting to do that. They will talk about the hardship in the country, economic challenges. They'll talk about how that, well, when politicians get there, they forget those who brought them into office. They forget they're supposed to be there for the people. But please and please, you've got to do your part. If you do not do your part, you have no mural justification whatsoever, or as lawyers say, you have no moral local standard.
Local standard.
Yes, for you to judge our politicians when they eventually get to office.
And another thing, you well said, by the way, and the truth is, I know the economy right now, economic hardship and all of that. People will tell you, what's there? Whoever wants to rule will rule. Let me just buy this, because you know that there's some individuals that will give as high as 20,000 naira,
Right.
some 30, some 10, some 15, in order for their votes to be bought. But you should stand on your ground and do the right thing. Do you want to continue? How long will 20,000 naira sustain you and your
Right.
family? Something that you go to the market, you buy tomatoes that day or the next day. This is, we're talking about 4 years now. So you should put all of these things into consideration, and you should do the right thing, like you said. Just cast your vote, and don't forget, of course, we do not know what the weather will be like. It could be
Right.
sunny. Take water, take food if you need to, but just do the right thing and leave. I feel that's the most important. That when it comes to counting and all that, you can hang around and see what's going on. But at the same time, just precautionary measures are very important, especially those that have children who are 18 and above who want to cast their votes. Tell them they shouldn't get themselves involved or be in places that they are not supposed to be at this time. Everyone should be very cautious of their environment. Security is key. So we should all just take these precautionary measures and be very careful, especially those in Edo State at the moment, because you do not know what can happen. From now till, let's say, 6 or 5, it's a long time. But let's just, precautionary measures are very important. One needs to plan ahead, and safety is key, like everyone else would say.
You know, like you said, if you're not 18, you're younger than 18, you have no business there,
No, you
and
don't.
which means it is also believed that you shouldn't have a PVC.
No, you should not.
Because a PVC is your access card, so to speak. So if
Yes,
you don't
it
have a
is.
PVC, what are you going to be there to do? And voting is not something you say you want to accompany somebody to go do.
No,
So you can't accompany your parents. You can't accompany, unless of course it happens to be such that there's an elderly person who probably is suffering some sort of disability, and then somebody needs to take them there. In which case you're expected to still behave yourself.
Yeah.
Conduct yourself in a way that is civil, adhering to all of the rules and regulations as well. And for those who are in Edo State, particularly in Benin City, I think it's understood already that movement is restricted. You
Yes, it
understand
is.
that security agencies have taken over the border towns now. All right, this is not the day to be driving around town
No.
because you want to do sightseeing, and then you find people who always play street football on election day rather than go out to vote, even when they have PVCs.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly.
That is also not allowed because it's a two-way thing. You are either out to vote or you are on essential duty, especially duties that have to do with the election itself. All right. Or the third is you're probably inside your house minding your business. So please, let's ensure that we do the right thing so that we don't start getting involved in blame games at the end of the day.
Very important. And then parents need to talk to their children, those that are vibrant, because we see that kids nowadays, they look bigger than their age. Have you noticed? Someone will tell you he's 50 and you're like, are you sure you're 15? Are you sure you're not 20?
Right.
Are you sure? So please, parents, you know the age of your children. Those that are 15, 16, 17 that have no business being out at all. They should stay indoors. They should. I don't understand. What are you playing football for at this time when there are security agents all around, and God forbid, some who are, you heard about the mental state that is ongoing. Some could
Right.
be trigger happy. We saw what happened in Zaria about that boy that was in front of his house during that NSAS bad government,
Right,
and
right.
was shot dead. God forbid, we do not want such occurrences. But at the same time, parents, you need to play your part. inform your children why it is not safe to be out at this time. Not that there's anything going on, but just be on the safe side. Stay indoors. Read, watch games, play game, and you can just actually watch what's going on TV. Listen to us, listen to the news.
Right.
You can. We should try and encourage our children to have that access in listening to news and all of that, so that
knowing what is happening in society.
What is happening. Like
you can't be ignorant of everything.
No, you cannot. You have to know what's happening around your environment. So it's very important that this time parents should sit their children down. Those teenage boys, the teenage years are one of the hard years because the kids, they are actually. They're trying to understand themselves, so they feel they want to do it this way. They're actually a bit stubborn at this, especially boys. They actually want to be heard. They don't know that it wants to calm down.
Right.
It's not calm. You know how it was when you were a teenager, when you want to feel as if I'm a boy. I can no, calm down, because boys are the ones that are usually used in to just cause havoc in the society. So parents, you have a role to play with. Those of you that have teenage boys at home who are not 18 years that are franchised to vote, please sit at home. It's very important, and just watch from afar what's happening. You can watch if you don't have light. You can just watch. You don't have to be outside.
Right.
Really, you don't need to. But if you're 18, please just cast your vote and go back home. I think that's very important.
We're beginning to get updates already, by the way, just so our viewers know, from Edo State, starting with Irwa in Eastern Central local government area of Edo State. We'll bring you all of those updates because our man, Anthony Momodu, Global Television's political correspondent, has been on the ground for a couple of weeks in Edo State, and today he'll be playing a very vital role of bringing us up to speed regarding what is happening in that local government where he is covering. All of that coming shortly after this break. Do stay with us. Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
The Global Morning team. Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here.
Obviously, it's a beehive of activity today on account of the election in Edo State, and our correspondent on the ground there, Anthony Momodu, who basically is covering activities in and around Irua in East and Central local government area, is on the ground for us. By the way, that's also where we understand that the candidate of the APC, Senator Monday Okpebolo, will be casting his vote. We'll also bring you highlights of as many other candidates as possible where they will be casting their vote. We know, for example, that the incumbent governor of the state, Godwin Obaseki, will be casting a vote in Oredo Ward 4. Basically, that's Mokbaya Primary School on Mission Road, just beside the Holy Cross Cathedral. So we'll bring you all of those highlights because leaders must lead by example.
Exactly.
We expect that all of these gentlemen will go out to also vote because if they don't, they will have the moral courage to tell the electorate to go cast their votes. Yeah, so let's join Anthony Momodu as he brings us a real-time update from Irua, Eastern Central Local Government Area.
All right, we're at the Udomi Primary School. It's one of the 4,519 units across Edo State, where the governor will be looking to cast his vote in order to be elected as the new incoming governor of Edo State. Already the INEC officials have been on time, and that's what the electorate are happy about. The INEC officials and other staff were right on time, and you could see people behind me checking out for their names before they get accredited, and voting has commenced in earnest. We're still waiting for the APC governorship candidate in the person of Senator Monday Okpebolo to cast his vote. This is Anthony Momodu reporting from Irua in Edo State.
I thank you, Anthony, for that follow-up right there. But we understand beyond this, a lot more is already happening in that part of the state this morning. INEC officials are already on the ground. Voters have started showing up for accreditation and then checking their names just to be sure the T's are crossed, I's dotted.
Exactly.
Observers are on the ground as well. Those who are supporting with regards to logistics, one form of contribution to the process or the other. Of course, Anthony will be bringing us a bit of update shortly, because we understand that the International Federation of Women Lawyers, who have very strong representation in this election, also has its members on the ground trying to contribute to ensuring that the process is not only smooth, but that it becomes yes, credible as well. Of course, lawyers always push for credibility and justice.
Transparency.
We hope, exactly. We hope that's exactly what we'll see today. So let's bring you a clip quickly of the representative of FIDA, that is International Federation of Women Lawyers, right there in Irua.
Well, as an election observer, what have you observed this morning?
The process is seamless. The INEC officials were here on time, and before 9 they had set their tables ready for voting. And specifically, I can see that they are giving consideration to old women. Some have just voted, and the voting process has started. So far, it is peaceful.
How will you describe the turnout?
Well, it's just less. It's about 10 o'clock, 9:30, and the turnout is improving. I'm sure you know it rained this morning, and I'm sure before 12, a lot of persons will turn out.
In terms of security?
Yes, we have the security officials here, the police, they are here, the NDLA, and we can see some soldiers around. So, see, everyone is safe.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, everyone, for staying with us on the program. That was a FIDA representative speaking to political correspondent Anthony Momodu as to their own readiness with regards to this election. Just to mention that at top of the hour, which is 10 o'clock West Africa time, we'll be joined by our first guests this morning to also give us a feel of what it has been like in Edo State in the last 24 hours, particularly across Benin City from Ego, from Ovia Northeast, yes, all the way to Ego, to Oredo, to Ibobaoha, right? Just to also understand, yes, all of the things that have happened up till this morning. All right, but again, we return to Irua now, where Anthony Momodu spoke with a particular gentleman, an elderly man, a senior citizen as we call them, who has his own opinion about his assessment of what INEC has done so far towards ensuring that this election becomes something that lines up with the expectation of Edo people.
So, talk loud, Oga, talk loud.
Yes, I just got my bill and I go to cast my card.
Did they happy say they come early?
Yes,
loud.
Very.
And they come early?
They came very early, as he is supposed to be. So I'm very happy. Which means the election of today will be free and fair.
All right, so far, so good from Irua in Eastern Central local government. That's a very big local government as well in the central area of Edo State. But then the other parts of the state we also will be bringing our viewers updates from this morning, so we understand what is happening across the different parts of the states. We hope that this becomes a violence-free election, but then everybody must be seen to be doing their part as well. I know many people are looking forward to when the results will start trickling in, when counting will begin, and then people begin to make it look like it's a Champions League. They want to see who wins the league.
Exactly.
That sort of thing is important because
really
we've got to have a winner at the end of the day. But we don't want to have the end justifies the means kind of situation.
True.
We want to be sure the process, in fact, this process in question becomes one more reason Nigerians will continue to trust electoral process in this country.
True.
Will improve the confidence that Nigerians repose in INEC, security agencies, and even observers. Because we have seen a situation arising from the 2023 election, in particular, Jumai, where some persons even had to debate the reports of observers, whether local or international. If we have come to that point, it means there's a problem with the process. So this again is an acid test, and INEC has assured and reassured that it will prove itself.
Yes, exactly. For given that, let's keep hope alive. It's very important that INEC actually proves itself when it comes to this particular electoral poll, because it has been, we've been going back and forth with it. This is the day it has finally come. So let's just keep our fingers crossed. Hope the T's and the I's are being dotted, very importantly. And of course, the right thing is being done. And with this, we have to quickly go on a very quick break. But stay tuned. It's still Edo Decides on Global Morning Weekend. Do not go anywhere. The program continues shortly. Stay tuned.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team. Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here.
I've seen watch your network, Global Television, and I think it's a refreshing addition to some of the networks that we already have, to have competitive media and looking at news from different angles. The place to go is to watch Global Television, because it gives you a different perspective, whether it is local news or foreign news, and even you're connecting with local communities in villages that I have seen. So we urge Nigerians that, this is the time to broaden the space, the source of information, of entertainment, and of enlightenment. And Global TV is the place to watch.
But by your name, you say global. So global is a big coverage. So you are taking a big name, but you are starting from from scratch. So that big name, by the grace of Almighty Allah, you achieve that. You will appreciate your activities, your reportage, and everything you are doing. Do it with the fear of Almighty God. Step by step, you'll be growing very, very globally. Get your things right and then report rightly. And then inshallah, sky will be your limit.
Business Point on Global Television.
The business world can be dynamic and unpredictable, with headwinds and volatility sometimes becoming an obstacle for players in the business and economy landscape. Watch Business Point on Global Television as Samuel Oji walks you through the twists, turns and curves in bands, stocks and crucial market indices from a global standpoint. Watch Business Point weekdays on Global Television at 11 a.m. West African time. Business Point. This is business.
Thank you, everyone, for staying with us on the program. A lot still up ahead for you, but in the meantime, we understand that activities are already on across all 18 local government areas of Edo State, even though the tempo cannot be said to be the same as expected. But the local government areas that are basically within the heart of the city, that is the center of the city, in this case, Soredo, Ego, and Ikpubaha, are essentially very active election-wise as expected. So we understand that INEC officials are on the ground already doing accreditation just to be sure that unscrupulous elements do not infiltrate the system or hijack the process or take undue advantage of the entire exercise. So that is ongoing right now. So it's just a matter of time, no distant time actually, until voting proper begins across the state. So a lot is expected to come out of all the 18 local government areas, from Ovia Northeast and Ovia Southwest all the way to Oriomo, to East and West, East and Central, all the way to even Akoko Edo, which again is the Edo North end of the state. But in all, Global Television will be here to bring you as much information in this regard as possible. We're taking a quick break now, and shortly we'll be joined by our first guests via Zoom live from Benin to give us a feel of what it has been like between yesterday and particularly this morning, when we understand that things are beginning to jump off already.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here.
I've seen watch your network, Global Television, and I think it's a refreshing addition to some of the networks that we already have, to have competitive media and looking at news from different angles. The place to go is to watch Global Television, because it gives you a different perspective, whether it is local news or foreign news, and even you're connecting with local communities in villages that I have seen. So we urge Nigerians that, this is the time to broaden the space, the source of information, of entertainment, and of enlightenment. And Global TV is the place to watch.
But by your name, you say global. So global is a big coverage. So you are taking a big name, but you are starting from from scratch. So that big name, by the grace of Almighty Allah, you achieve that. You will appreciate your activities, your reportage, and everything you are doing. Do it with the fear of Almighty God. Step by step, you'll be growing very, very globally. Get your things right and then report rightly. And then inshallah, sky will be your limit.
Business Point on Global Television.
The business world can be dynamic and unpredictable, with headwinds and volatility sometimes becoming an obstacle for players in the business and economy landscape. Watch Business Point on Global Television as Samuel Oji walks you through the twists, turns and curves in bands, stocks and crucial market indices from a global standpoint. Watch Business Point weekdays on Global Television at 11 a.m. West African time. Business Point. This is business. Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momojo.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending local and international news, current issues, and human-related topics. Join Samuel Odi weekdays 1 p.m. on Global Television. The discussion starts here.
Bring on our first guest this morning, who joins us live from Benin City in Edo State in light of the Edo Decides 2024 special coverage of which Global Television is bringing you this morning. We're joined by Felix Osarime, is a lecturer, Department of International Studies and Diplomacy there at the University of Benin in Benin City. Felix, good morning, and we want to say a big thank you to you for making that time to join us on this very special Saturday.
Good morning and welcome to Saturday, 21st day of September 2024, our day of decision in those states.
Incidentally, my colleague Jumai Mansin and I will quickly engage you regarding what's happening on the ground there in those states. Yesterday, just the eve of the election, many persons had speculated several things because it was the last trading window, so to speak, for politicians and the electorate. But this is the morning after, right? Let's talk about some of the elements and factors driving development and realities on the ground in Edo State right now, particularly in light of this election.
Okay, point blank, we are on ground, and I said previously when we had the opportunity to discuss about this that the election is going to be a three-way race. That is what it's still looking at. It's still between PDP, the incumbent party, APC, the major opposition party, and the third leg in the opposition stream, the Labour Party. Other parties are not really in the picture, and as of Thursday, the 19th of September, some of them collapsed their structures into the APC to support the opposition party against the incumbent party. But basically, we've had a very interesting run. The parties have gone around the state, over the 192 wards in the states, the different central districts, the three central districts, Edo South, Edo Central, and Edo North. They've done their bits. They've done both mainstream media and social media campaigns. We have pundits now looking at what will likely be the outcome of today's election. And if I'm giving the free hand to speak at this point, I will tell you categorically that the PDP is very, very much on ground. They are the party to beat from all indications, because the sitting governor is in PDP. The party candidate for the PDP, Aswai Godalo, is one of the most outspoken so far in terms of personal presentation. That of the APC candidate, a presently sitting senator in the person of Mondope Olo, has also been doing his bits, and he has most of the big guns in Edo State politics behind him, starting with the former governor of Edo State and also a sitting senator in the person of Comrade Adams Ali Oshomole. Most of the big guns in PDP, some of them even crossed to APC recently. People like Senator Maturoide, two-time senator from Edo South. People like Honorable Fransali Mikena, who contested with Oshomole, who was in PDP, then he has crossed to APC. Not be the leader of legacy group in PDP. They are supporting APC, even though he has not openly declared for APC. Then we have a lot of them. Is it Pastor Usagi Zeyamu, a former APC gubernatorial candidate, who was also a PDP gubernatorial candidate at the time? He's now in APC. So the list is a long chain. Obede Yama, who was in PDP before, has also crossed to APC. So the big guns in Edo State politics, the big names, they are arrayed on the side of the APC. And let's not also forget the fact that there is word on the street, APC is being, as they are claiming, that they have federal might on their side. So that also makes the contest very interesting. For Labour Party, the claim they have been having is that the Labour Party is the new bride in town, courtesy of the personality of Peter Obi, who was a presidential candidate in the last presidential election. And the candidate of the Labour Party, Barrister Osagbovo Olumide Akpata, former NBA chairman, is also on ground. Even as of yesterday, he still came out to rejoinder that he has not left the race, though the rumors went around that, the Labour Party has collapsed their structure to join that of PDP. So we are having a lot of interesting developments on ground here. Materials have moved. As of yesterday, they started moving the non-sensitive materials to different locations in the state under tight security cover. And as of yesterday too, Central Bank in Benin along Apava Road, where most of the materials were stored for later distribution, was barricaded by a combined team of the army, the police, the civil defense, even other paramilitary agencies were drafted in. So that place is a no-go area at the moment. You have to drive around if you get as close to the office of BDC in Akpava, you must turn off to your right because the road is bifurcated. There's a median. So you cannot enter that area from Ring Road, which is the center of the city. You cannot drive to the center of the city from Akpava. You have to take a detour, either through Igun Street or you go through Mission Road on the other side, on the right side. So far, as of yesterday, we had a lot of excitement too, even though the campaigns officially ended 12 midnight of Thursday into yesterday, Friday. There was no campaigns again, no open campaigns, because by INEC regulation, campaigns were supposed to have ended. But there's still a lot of what we call mosquito campaign, underground moves, a lot of talk still going on. People are now making direct phone calls to those who they believe should support their claim. So the parties are not resting on their oars at all. They've sent to the field their party agents. And as I said earlier on, it's a three-way race. The three major parties, PDP, APC, and Labour Party, they've deployed their agents to the field. Most of them were given their tags yesterday by the INEC office in Benin City, and they've gone to their different locations. So as of this morning, I got calls from friends that they're already getting ready to go to the vote center. I will be going out to vote as soon as I'm through with this discussion with your TV station. That's the situation for now. But everywhere is cool account.
Mr. Felix Osareme, thank you for joining in, as we has already rightly mentioned. Let's talk about the presence of security agents in Edo as we speak. It's not intimidating to indigents, as in for giving them that self of, is it fear or courage in order to come out to vote today?
No, there is no apprehension in terms of the presence of security. One good thing I must say about this election is that there's a lot of voter education that has been carried out by the political parties. In fact, it was massive. I want to believe that because the state government has a major stake in the matter, they did a lot in terms of advocacy, that policemen will be drafted in, soldiers will be drafted in. In fact, police helicopters have been flying all over the airspace for close to 2 days now. So it's not scary at all. It's even really a welcome development because a lot of people were apprehensive that there will be violence. But the assurance given by the Inspector General of Police, by the State Commissioner of Police, and the governor has also spoken to that effect, there's a lot to be calm about. Even the Chief of Defense Staff also gave his own assurance that the military will be on ground to give support to other security agencies. And we know we have this maximum respect for the military, particularly in this part of the country. So the presence of soldiers and policemen on the street is not actually intimidating. In fact, it's a statement of reassurance to those voters, because a lot of people were saying, oh, what if thugs come out and start shooting? What if there's breakdown of violence? So that is still a possibility. But the physical presence of policemen gives a measure of certainty that to a large extent you are covered. But we can also note something very seriously here, that policemen that go to election duty do not carry firearms. That has been the practice over the years. What we have is that on the routes to different police stations, you have checkpoints that are mounted by combined security agencies, policemen and soldiers, who will likely just stop you and ask you, where are you going to? Are you going to vote? Where's your voter's card? That is the element of security. But at the police stations proper, there are no armed security men. We must be frank about that one.
All right, still talking about Edo Gobo election. Now, looking at it, let us talk about individuals. I know it's too early to judge now, but how is the outcome so far? People coming out to cast their votes, or how is it? Or people are still dragging their feet and all of that? I called an uncle of mine who says the electorate have not even set up where he is in, he mentioned the place.
That was in Ego.
Ego.
Right.
They've not started setting up, that there are no INEC officials on ground. They are still waiting. How is it where you are now?
Yes, I am in GRA in Benin City, and I've spoken to two of my friends who are also in GRA here. We all plan to set out by 11 a.m. simply because we do not want to get there too early, because we already know that most times the deployment of materials may be delayed by 1 or 2 developments. It's calm right now. It's not heavily sunny and there is no rain. So movement should be very easy. But I spoke with a friend of mine uptown in Ulemo area, and she told me that in their area, they're already moving towards the polling center, but the information that they also got from the neighbors near the health center where they vote is that the INEC officials have not set up station. But there's this enthusiasm so far that we all go out to vote. I think that is the first point that we must establish here. A lot of people are enthusiastic about going out to vote, particularly in Edo South, which has the deciding factor in the gubernatorial election in Edo State, because by the statistics that we got from INEC and from independent monitors, over 1 million voters are registered in Edo South. Edo Central, over 450,000, then Edo North, an excess of 600,000. So if you combine the free population from the 3 central districts, we are having more than 2 million registered voters. And we do know that the Edo South is highly urban, particularly Benin City that has 3 local governments, Oredo, Bobaoha, and Ego. These are the areas that are heavily populated, and these are the areas where you have most of the young people that also go out to vote. And there have been a lot of advocacy that young people should come out and vote today. That is part of what we have been speaking about.
Okay, let's talk about this for a second, Felix. The element of fake news and rumor mongering and misinformation all put together. Just yesterday, for example, the governorship candidates of the Labour Party, Olumide Osaigbovo Akpata, had to come out to debunk some claim that he had stepped down from the race and even thrown his weight behind a different political party and candidates altogether. All right, that's just one of the several instances. We're seeing misinformation, deliberate attempts to, as it were, propagate fake news and all of that. So to what extent and in what remarkable ways do you see this phenomenon rubbing off on this election one way or another?
We cannot take away from politicians the fact that they always have tricks up their sleeves. That is not a nullity. So we were not shocked when we heard yesterday that the claim that the Labour Party candidate has collapsed the structure into the PDP. That was the claim yesterday. But he came out, in fact, there was even a memo that was circulating on social media, but he came out openly to debunk the claim that he is still in the race, that he is still a contestant, he is still a candidate, and he's still representing his party, Labour Party. And he is still encouraging people to come out and cast their vote for him. That was his own expression yesterday. That same yesterday, another fake news came out claiming that the candidate of the APC has been issued a court order, a magistrate court has ruled that he is not qualified to contest. We find it very funny because such news will come out definitely just to mislead the voting public. Another one came out that the Supreme Court has ruled that the candidate of the PDP, Aswan Odalo, is not competent to run for the election, so he should be removed from the ballot. That is just less than 24 hours to the election. So we expected all those things, and the parties have also gone out through their different spokespersons to say that these are fake news. And fake news is not going to be new news for us anymore. We expected it. And part of propaganda that people use to reduce the visibility of their opponent is to sponsor information that will be creating doubts and disconnection from position of strength in this contest. So when the fake news hit the stands yesterday and it also went viral, many of us knew that such things are bound to happen. We're not really taken aback. But we also have to still speak to those that care to listen to us, that these things do happen. They are all moves made by politicians in different camps to either malign their opponent or to gain undue advantage. So deliberate misinformation that is of propaganda value is expected in this kind of contest. And that was what happened yesterday. But the parties have also come out to put information right, that this information was fake news at the point it hit the airwaves. So the parties are still doing a lot to correct the information. Even INEC also came out on its own to say that there was no disqualification of any candidate, and there has been no information to them that so and so person has withdrawn from the race, because it's an ongoing transaction. So it has not ended until the final results are turned in. So we are following developments as they happen.
ask you this as a wrap up now. Hopefully you find time to join us again after you would have voted. But for now, in the build up to this election, during the heated period of campaign, there were debates, there were issues, there were controversies around candidates being invited to come for debates. Of course, we understand that a handful of debates were organized by different entities. Some candidates didn't show up for some, for whatever reason. And some people say, well, if you can't come for debate, it means you're not ready to lead, because you're supposed to come tell the people what you want to do for them. But again, if we cast our mind back to last year, President Bola Tinubu did not attend some of the debates he would call popular. I mean, then the APC candidates, presidential candidates, that is. But today is the president. So let's talk about this issue of debates and situate it as it should be. Must candidates standing for an election attend all Tom, Dick, and Harry debates?
Well, I appreciate this question very well, coming from a media practitioner of your own status. And we cannot really describe some of those debates as Tom, Dick, and Harry debates. But let's be very blunt about it is here. A candidate that wants to hold public office should be open to public scrutiny through established media agencies. And I think it's a sad day in our history, starting from the antics of the present president, who refused to appear in some of the interviews. And that is the grandstand that APC is now making today. In fact, there's even word on the street. APC supporters openly bragged that their candidates have never attended some of the interviews, still won election, so they don't need to attend an interview to win election. It is sad, because you are going to be interrogated for public office. I mean, if you want to employ someone, you interview the person. And this is a form of public interview. It is not the media house that should be under scrutiny here. It is the candidate. Now we are scrutinizing the media houses to say, are they competent to interview candidates? It is now putting the cart before the horse. It should have been the other way around. Candidates should submit themselves for public scrutiny. There is nothing wrong with that, because you are going to hold public office. You deserve public trust to hold public office. And it is sad, as I said earlier on, that we begin to rationalize this kind of situation. And this is why we end up putting square pegs in round holes and putting round pegs in square holes, and later looking for a way to explain. Because if these parties are open to scrutiny and the candidates come out to say, this is what I can do and what I cannot do, and we say in the spirit of sportsmanship, come and state your case before the public, there is nothing wrong with that. The media houses that organize these debates are known to us already. If you don't like a particular media, okay, visit the one that you like, but make it public, not selective interviews or closed interviews where you are given a script. The script can never present properly. It is very sad. I must speak frontly about this, because we are developing a trajectory that is not helpful. Because sometime in the future, when the particular candidate maybe becomes the office holder and he asks a question, it will now begin to question and say, at what point did I say this? Meanwhile, if there was an open interview, there are records of these interviews. If the candidate who eventually becomes the office holder can be called back to say, at this point in your campaign, you made this promise or this claim. We are bringing you back to account to explain why there's a deviation. But when there is nothing to fall back on, it becomes a very difficult situation. And in this kind of condition, you have nothing to fall back on. I do remember strongly that when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu won the election, there were some claims that people raised, and one of those who spoke to in his defense was Senator Adam Saliu Shomode, who said Tinubu is not he never promised to perform magic, that he's not a magician. He said the same thing under the previous administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, when he said that we should not be too hasty in our demands. So some of these are things that you can escape under because there is no proof. But when you are publicly scrutinized and there is evidence to that effect and there are recordings, it can always be brought back to question you or to ask you to account when you now hold office. Unfortunately, APC, I'm not speaking for any other party, but this has become more of an APC trajectory to say they will avoid debate, and in the long run, if they hold office, they begin to ask you, at what point did they say they were going to do what you are asking them to do now? And because there is no hold to now, there's no line to hold on to say you were the one that made this claim at this point in time. So it is a very bad thing. Candidates should be encouraged. parties should be encouraged. Of course, the people that have argued will always argue that there is no law to that effect. There's no electoral law that says candidates must present themselves for public interview or for media interview or for media debates. That is a fact. But there are conventions outside of laws, and certain conventional practices must be adhered to. So that is part of what we are insisting on, that candidates of political parties running for public office should come out in the public domain, in a debate, in an open media or open environment to articulate. They go for campaigns, but in campaigns, it's one-sided transaction because they speak, you listen, and there's a lot of loudspeaker, a lot of noise, so you cannot really interrogate them in campaign. In campaigns, they'll tell you, we will do this, we will do that. They make promises. Let's disregard the gaffes, the grammatical blunders, and the verbal somersaults. We can bypass those ones. But in an interview that is organized, where you have questions fed by seasoned journalists, it is more of a manifesto that you are delivering. So you can be questioned on that account, unlike in a rally where you have majorly your supporters, whether they are hired crowds or they are organic supporters. That would be a different matter entirely. So I do believe that candidates of parties should be asked to come out for debates organized by recognized media houses. There will be nothing wrong with that, and it must be the way to go in the future.
Thank you to you. At this point, Felix Osareme, lecturer, Department of International Studies and Diplomacy, University of Benin, for making our time to join us. We hope to cycle back to you after you would have, of course, cast your votes and be able to maybe just raise some talking points regarding your observation and what it has been like where you are. Again, thank you and wish you all the best today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me in the program.
All right. It's quite interesting. You know, I like the point where he said he and his friends will be going out at about 11 to also cast their votes and all of that. And he talked about as well how that there's excitement, people are enthusiastic about the process. And I think that is good because I remember back in school, incidentally, he was my lecturer in school. Oh, wow. Right. So his own senior colleague, very fast senior colleague, who happens to have also taught me, for me it's a privilege actually, Professor Agbe had talked about how that there was a time in the US you would have to throw party to get people to come vote, just to encourage them. You throw party for them, you know, just to encourage them, just to, you know, give them a reason to vote. But today we realize that that's not the same story in the US. I mean, many decades down the line. We hope that Nigeria will also grow into that culture where it becomes normal, and by default, people will just come out to vote out of patriotism.
Exactly. Exactly. And he mentioned something about governor aspirants coming out in like in a panelist, like you come out. It's very important.
Debates, right?
Debate. It's very important that we know these things. But I think for me, you know, we already, it's like a standard. They only go for campaigns, the rallies, and it stops there. We don't really know what they only come out and say, I will do this, I will do that. But we need to engage these individuals who are going to be our mouthpiece, who are going to be some sort of succor for individuals in that present state. It's very important, and I hope we key into it. It's very important that they come out for debate. Let's know why you want to be in power. Let us understand what is your plan when you become governor. Or it's very important. We should do it.
Right, it is, because you can't want to lead the people in a state like Edo, for example, or any other state in this country where you have millions of human beings, all right, whose lives for the most part will depend largely on the quality of leadership you're providing. All right, not want to ask questions, engage with you. I think we also need to understand that debate is not a fight. All right, debate is basically an opportunity of saying, look, we understand you're interested in this job, and we are the ones you want to work for. These are our concerns. Can we not talk about these issues, you know, and things like that? I think that's what it should be for debates. But just to remind our viewers that we have yet a few more discussions up ahead of us, some of the other guests that will be joining us to also share about these developments in Edo State, all of the issues around the election. All of that will come up shortly. But we'll have our news at 12 o'clock West Africa time. That's the media news for you as well. Please do stay with us.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
Time check. It's midday. Then it's Midday Discourse. Midday Discourse is a program that covers trending